Welcome back to another anime review. Today we're reviewing episode 5 of Black Clover. I'm Justin,
What is up? I'm Logan.
and together we're Couch Talk. So how these goes, we're gonna discuss the episode and at the end give down a breakdown of our score. And as always, no spoilers down below, especially since there's anime viewers only coming in here. Logan is one of them. I am not, but no spoilers. So,
All
you ready
right,
to jump right into
let's
this?
just jump into it.
So first, I still have beef with how they're doing the beginning of the episodes. Another long-ass recap of what happened.
Yeah. See, I don't mind the quick little Magic King thing. You know, like the little. I don't mind that. Like, oh, the Magic King defeated the Demon King. I feel it gives
Yeah,
it like a.
yeah, that's like part of the intro,
Yeah,
I
I
feel
feel
like.
like it's an
So
intro. It's
that
just to
that's
give.
fine. Well, I didn't like how they replayed. Well, I was hoping they would quickly show the fight between Asta and the one guy again because you knew the captains were going to make some remarks, which they did. But they started like way back before the fight. And
Right, and I wish it focused more on the captains. I really don't get, to be honest, I don't really give a shit what character number 17 has to say about him being a peasant. They
you know,
really,
like how
this whole episode, every other line was about how he's like a peasant and only
they're
royalty.
letting you know nobles can't stand these poor bitch peasants, okay?
Well,
Like,
yeah, but like we know that. How many times do you have to tell us? Like we know that.
yeah. And anyway, we get back. Asta beats Seke or whatever his
Sake.
name again, and then the captains finally make their remarks like, "Is he using?" They're not sure about if he's using magic or whatever, except for Yami's like, "No, he's just physically powerful." But he knows because he held
Yeah.
Asta, and he
I
even says
think
like they do a flashback to it, and he's like, "I felt no mana from him."
right. Also, I think William knows what this grimoire is because he mentioned it for a second, and I feel like that's gonna be like an ongoing secret. Like, what's the story behind this 5-leaf clover grimoire? Like, we kind of know what the 4-leaf clover, but
Yes.
what's this one about?
And I was gonna say something, and it slipped my mind. So, uh, again, he kind of like there's not a whole lot to like break down in this episode because it's kind of there's not a whole lot of like hard substance content.
Right.
Like again, when he beats this fight, it's like another 2 minutes of him yelling at the peasants and the peasants yelling back, or the nobles, him yelling at the nobles and the nobles yelling back at him.
Yeah. It just finished this whole episode was to finish the exam, which
Yes.
I felt was finished at the end of last episode, but we did get to see Yuno fight.
Yes, which is important. But before that, they did they're like, oh, this is an exam with a whole bunch of characters, so we kind of want to show there's a lot of characters. So they give us one fight between two nobles because everyone's like, wow, these nobles are powerful. And it's like some guy using like a sand golem, another guy using a water.
Yeah, I think
Like,
maybe it was to introduce like there's a bunch of different types of
yeah,
magic. But what I wish they would done is like have established side characters be in these fights or something. Kind of like just any, because I don't think we don't really have any side
no.
characters.
Right now there are absolutely zero. They don't come in until well at the end of the episode when he goes to the new place. That's where all the side characters are.
Okay, because the only repeated side character that wasn't like a captain was Seke, but I feel like he's not gonna be anything after this.
No, he's like your random character that shows up like randomly throughout, and
Yeah,
that's it. But he has no presence whatsoever.
right.
And of course, Asta's yelling throughout the whole time. They're like, because people were starting to think maybe he's special because of how he just handled it, and then they heard him yelling after watching the novels, like, "Oh, that's so cool!" And they're like, "Maybe there's not much to him
I
actually."
I
After
don't
all,
see how they can just turn around and say he's bad though. Like they saw what he did. It wasn't like they heard he beat. It's not like they heard it from someone like, oh, he beat a noble. They literally watched him one-shot this noble with ease.
Well, I think they're using the excuse like this noble was just playing around because he's a peasant, so he didn't take it seriously.
Yeah.
And then that's what their excuse is, like, oh, he's not taking it seriously. Otherwise he wouldn't have lost. And this is where it starts to get a little more serious between the nobles and Asta and Yuno, is when Salem, he decides to challenge Yuno, and he's like, you know what, I'm going to show you the difference between us nobles and you peasants in power and status and wealth. It's like,
yeah,
I mean,
throw wealth
you
in
don't
there.
need to beat him in a 1v1 to prove you have more wealth than him.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a hardcore fact. Status, that's a fact. You have higher than him. Power, that's something you're challenging for. You're going to prove to him you have more power than him. You can't prove to him you have more wealth. You have more wealth. It's not like you fight and lose. You no longer have wealth.
You gotta forfeit everything. You just switch lives.
Just switch lives. So they fight, and Salem uses like this god lightning strike power or something like that, he calls it. And Yuno just kind of thwarts him with his tornado.
It was pretty much it wasn't really a
Completely
fight. It was like, you throw your best, I'll throw my best. Whoever wins, wins.
Yes,
like, it was
exactly.
just one move.
And of course, Yuno being a prodigy, having the 4-leaf clover. What I do like about Yuno, though, is, like I want to mention, is he's not just like a prodigy that shows up and he's super strong all of a sudden and just goes on. Like, as they saw in the montage, he works just as hard as Asta.
Right.
He's actually training all the time. He's not one of those characters that are just, super strong from the beginning and then stay that way. Those kind of characters I'm not a fan of, or they don't really have much depth, whereas Yuno is a hard worker.
Right. I also like how Yuno kind of looks out for Asta, or is like at least proud of him. I don't even know if it's like proud. I think he honestly expects Asta to like make it to the Magic Knights and all that. But he's happy for him.
Yeah, exactly. He wants the best of him because, again, he's his true rival. So you want your rival to be the best too, because then he's pushing you to be your best as well.
Right.
So after I accidentally clicked on something. After he wins that, we get finally to the captains picking their I guess their new members.
The selection process.
Yes. And if multiple people raise their hands, you can choose which group you want to go to.
Right.
And if only one person, you basically have to go to. So you have a choice.
Yeah, this is kind of embarrassing how they're just like, we're going to call you out in front of everybody. And if none of us want you, we're going to tell you to get out.
It was like, what, the first 40-something, nobody raised hands. And then it was like, number 46, and then one person raised their hands.
They're like, oh,
somebody finally got picked. So it's not easy to just get picked.
Right.
They go through a lot. I don't even know how many members actually get picked total. They don't really explain that. I wish they kind of did. Say like, I want to know how many candidates there actually were.
There was,
and how many might have got selected.
I think they said the number of candidates at the very end.
Oh, they did on the last one, I think.
Yeah, wasn't it like 500?
Yeah, 500 and something. So, all right, we got how many candidates. We don't really know how many were picked.
I wish it would have been like, and this year only like 12 candidates moved on or something.
Yeah, exactly. They didn't really do that in the manga either, but it's just some nice details I think it would be.
Yeah, it gives you more of a sense like how prestigious this exam is. Like if 100 people move on, it's like, okay, it's not too difficult. But if like 6 people only made it, it's like, okay, you got to be like pretty damn good to make it.
Yes, and then finally we get to Yuno. He goes up before Asta. And we get something very unique here. All the captains raise their hand.
Every single one.
Logan's prediction here from last episode being blown out.
It was.
You were thinking the silver-haired, which is actually not that bad of a guy, because you were thinking, well, they don't take non-royalty. But so strong, you were thinking, hey, maybe they will pick him up. But
yeah. I was honestly surprised that William raised his hand.
The
But
Golden Dawn, #1, who only take nobility. They all break it. Of course, you basically have to for Yuno. He's super strong. He has the 4-leaf clover. Like, if he goes with another group or whatever, they can end up becoming the newest group.
right,
Yuno obviously chooses Golden Dawn because his goal, like Asta, is become the Wizard King.
yeah,
And William is the closest to the Wizard King right now, so obviously that's the quickest, straightest path to getting there.
makes the most sense. And then we
I,
get Asta,
yep.
his selection process. His is kind of much different from Yunos.
This is nobody raises their hand at first. Uh, they did drag this out a little bit with him, like just standing there, like I'm not done or whatever.
Yeah, I
Before Yami finally decided to make a move.
yeah. So he basically, I think he tested Asta a bit. He's like, I know you don't have magic power. I'm gonna show you what a magic knight's level is. Like, this is the level you have to be just to be like a knight. And you want to. He even said, he's like, you think you're gonna pass all 9 of us with no magic power?
Yeah, like it's, and I like how they explain, like, it's not that they were thinking about rejecting him outright. They were still kind of debating it because he's like, Yami said they don't understand his power, whereas everyone else, they understood their power. They could tell what their growth is going to be. Whereas
Right.
Asta, they don't know. They don't know his growth is, how he works really, because they know he doesn't have magic.
Which
But
that makes
they
sense.
see he has
honestly.
something, but they're not quite sure what it can do.
Yeah, that makes sense because I'm guessing people can sense mana because he mentioned
Yeah.
that earlier. So I'm sure they don't sense. Is mana just like your magic power, basically?
Yeah, magic power.
Okay. So I'm guessing they sense 0 from Asta, so they're like, well, how is he going to be a wizard king when you can't even use magic?
Yeah, exactly. Which is why Yami goes down there, tests his like will and resolve,
Yeah.
and Asta's like, "I'm going to be the Wizard King without a doubt." Yami being like, Yami comes from these oddballs, the Black Bulls.
Yeah.
They're known for not being
I think he respects like
normal.
brutality, or at least
Exactly.
like, because even him, he's kind of like a hard-headed brute, but like I think he respects that because they're like the outcast guild or whatever you want to call it.
That's exactly what you can call it. So, and of course he likes Asta, so he picks them up, and Asta gets saved the last second to be joined by the Black Bulls.
I do like how he's like, you don't have an option.
Yes, he does not have an option to decline. He wasn't going to decline anyway, but he does not have the option to decline. So after that, we get really some just like light-hearted scenes after all this like seriousness of this exam.
Yeah.
Asta realizes he finally has to take a damn shit. It's been all day. I'm surprised not everyone's in the toilets. You know, you've been sitting there from dusk to dawn, and you're like,
You're like, goddamn, I
dawn to
gotta
dusk.
go.
Whatever. That's what I meant. Yeah, like, and he just books it, and of course, Seke wants his little revenge, because every noble wants the revenge after losing to a peasant,
Yeah.
and goes to attack Asta while he's on the toilet, or play a prank. I mean, you can take your truth. He says prank. If you want to believe him, you can.
He also said before that you'll be bedridden for life. It's just a prank, though.
So it is just a prank. Yuna shows up, saves Asta. Of course, Yuna's like, don't ever come near him. Only, you're like, you'll never be good enough for Asta.
That's what I liked. I liked how he wasn't like, oh, back off. I'm not gonna let you like mess with him. He's like, even if you did, you don't stand a chance. Like, he can beat you by himself. Which, that's what I liked. I like how he didn't say like, oh, if you try and hurt him, I'll hurt you. He's like, I don't have to say that.
Yeah, exactly. He's just there for his friend. He acknowledges his friend and treats him as an equal. So it's great great rivalry friendship. Unlike in Pokemon, uh, always showing up to fuck with you, man. Well, we go back to Asta shows up with Yami. Yami quite infuriated. He had to wait on Asta, and Asta just describes his poop. Like,
This was
it
like,
was
I was
big
like,
and
wait,
long.
what?
Setting you up for a perfect "that's what she said" joke.
Oh boy, we're derailing.
But yeah, and we get a little glimpse at, since Asta can't use magic to actually go to the guild, we see a little bit of Finral's magic here. Spatial magic. He can use it for teleportation to get you from one destination to another.
That's,
Finral, definitely a common character throughout. He's going to be one of your main side characters.
that's
Just
good.
because he's basically necessary for people to travel in
Yeah, I
the
was
black
about to say.
in the Black Bulls.
But we basically just get Asta going to the Black Bulls, and he opens the door, and I guess it explodes. Like it's a common thing.
It, like they say, he's like, "Welcome to the lowest rank." I think is what he says. It
The absolute worst.
Yeah, the absolute worst. Because, well, in some ways they're similar to like the Fairy Tale Guild, like, and how they're always mess
they're
around
just
and destroy stuff too. Like,
rambunctious.
yes, so they're kind of similar in that aspect.
That's the vibe I got. Like they're the troublemaking group. But
And
it fits
I
Asta
suppose-
perfectly.
It does, and they're finally picking up. The pace, I feel like, still needs some work.
Right. I feel
They
like
did get
there's
through a whole chapter this time, again, which like, yeah, that's fine, but your pace shouldn't be set by the pace of the manga. It's an anime, it's an adaptation, it's a different kind of art form,
a
so
different medium.
yeah, exactly. So you knew the pacing, I think, does need picked up a little bit.
I agree. You wanna go ahead and rate it?
Oh yeah, do you want to talk? Do you watch the little chibi scenes they do at the end of every episode?
Did they have one?
Yeah, they do it at the end of almost every episode.
Oh.
They have a little chibi like joke scene.
I haven't
They're
seen
kind of
it.
lighthearted, funny. Like sometimes they're not. The last one wasn't very good. This one was kind of funny. It was just Salem and Seke like talking to each other, like, "Oh, you're so cool. No, you're cool." That's
Oh, I see it.
They do that at the end of every episode randomly.
Baha?
Baha! Yes,
Baha.
exactly. But now we can go into the scores. I think I'm gonna stick with my 6. I don't know if they're gonna get any higher at that. Again, there's a lot of pacing issues, some extra irrelevant details that get added, and then other details that need to be added, like how prestigious are the Magic Knights, how many people get accepted each year,
Right.
and then we get more than enough details that nobles hate peasants.
They kind of really drove that home. I feel like they focus too much on a single detail or a single
exactly.
joke, which I'm glad we haven't heard that joke.
Yeah, I'm
And I
glad
feel-
we're finally getting away from Sister Lily and these others. Finally. We're finally moving along, but we're not moving along like as well as it should be. We're 5 episodes in, 3 chapters through. It's not the best pace,
Right.
especially when there's so much. They did a filler episode, but for this episode alone, there's some good moments finally, but then there's other moments where they just kind of dragged on too much. But nothing like that makes me want to like say it's great or good or anything. It's just doing its thing right now.
Okay, so I'm gonna stick with a 6 as well. It's pretty much the same reason, just some pacing issues. They focus too much on certain things, and you kind of want them to explain other things. It's pretty stereotypical, but that's not necessarily bad. They're really separating Yuno and Asta, like one's great, one's not so great. But I just wish they would move faster. Like this
Exactly.
episode, if you take a step back and look at it, this episode, all it did was 2 fights, 1.5. I don't count those other. I'll count those 2 no name characters as half a fight. They did the fight and then the selection process, and that's it. That's all that happened this episode in 20 minutes.
Because I like wrote down like a list of what points to bring up, and it's like I threw some stuff in there. When you're looking at it, it's not much content.
Right. I just feel some scenes are just dragged out too long. Like, you don't have to do 1 chapter per episode. That's not good.
Yeah, like don't like I was saying, don't let the chapter,
Yeah,
don't let the manga determine your pace.
Yeah, don't let
You're telling a story here. This is your story now. Tell it how you want to tell it. Like, actually pick up your own pace.
Exactly. That's like reading a manga and like being forced to stay on a page for a whole minute, no matter what's on it. Like, you're just forced to look at that page for a whole minute until it's like, okay, now we can go. It's just,
Exactly.
It feels constricted. Hopefully they pick it up.
I do also want to point out, I liked the music a lot in this episode. It felt really good with the scenes, and also I do like the animation.
Yeah.
And some of the fights and stuff.
The fight animation is pretty good.
And I felt like the music's pretty solid. So that basically does it for this episode. These Black Clover ones don't have a lot of content or
give us
substance.
The spiel.
Give us the
We
spiel.
want the spiel.
All right, normal spiel, guys. Be sure to like, subscribe, share the video. All that truly helps. The feedback and just the amount of likes we've been getting lately is awesome.
Yeah.
And the subscriptions have
just to
been
be
great.
honest, like, we set a subscriber goal for ourselves at 50 for end of the year, but it's almost there already, which is like super cool that we think. So
Exactly.
it's just motivating.
Awesome. Yes, exactly. And when we comments, of course, always be sure to have some interaction down below. No spoilers, but just anything else is fine. Mention anything from this episode, what you thought about the episode, what you liked, didn't like, anything like that to just get the discussion going. And I think that does it for this episode fully now, right? Anything else?
I think that's it. Yeah.
All right.
My
Good
webcam
stuff.
I turned blurry.
Oh, peace out.
See ya.